And that's, we talk about engineering leadership. Well, so you need the product mindset within the engineering space, but you also need, somehow you need to think as I think, yeah, you need to think it's an amplification of the product mindset, but you need to think as you're running this business now, and somehow someone at the top of the company needs to consider you as a source of revenue, and as also someone who, yeah, is this combination of entrepreneur mindset, like we will build this ingestion factory. That's a big call, but when you have the scale, and you will invent your own product, your own platform, your own cloud service. And that's what we see all the time, because actually what's happening here is, so even when I say what software engineering delivers to the companies and acceleration, the problem is it's too abstract. And again, I'm still wrestling with a lot of those ideas, so they are abstract. But I think actually the way you can look at it in a useful way is, okay, why do we say software engineering accelerates a business? The idea I've come up with is, so in the end, like any engineering, what software engineering is doing is it's solving problems. So how solving problems, help you accelerate. And so the story goes like this: like, you give your first problem to your software engineering team as a new company, and it's about building a website. Well, first, the interesting thing is, I'll come to that in a minute, but the problem that you're actually giving to your team is not delivering a website, it's delivering all websites. But again, let me pause on that and come back on this later. But effectively, the first project you give them, they have this set of solved problems that's pretty much empty at the beginning, right? And because software engineering hasn't done anything for your company yet, and they deliver your website, and if you're a bit lucky, like the set of solved problems has grown a bit now, and then you give them your next problem, which is like, give me a mobile app, right? And then, there is a bit of an acceleration, because now you have solved some of the problem. Because the one trick of software engineering I've remembered, and one trick of computer science, is we break problems into smaller problems, right? So some of the big problem of give me a mobile app is about provisioning some infrastructure on the cloud, is about, there are some elements of it that are actually common to the problem of give me my website. And then, but now, so you've already enjoyed a bit of acceleration with your mobile app. And now, you say, okay, give me my B2B API layer. And now you can start feeling there is acceleration, right? So I think what I'm trying to say is, if you do it well, you are actually gardening and growing a set of solved problem, and the people who do well, actually, they monetize it, right? Because let's talk about Amazon, right? Amazon, who is in retail, but they produced AWS, and the way I look at it is, AWS is the set of solved problems at the infrastructure level, and you see what I mean? It's also helpful, because one thing sometimes you wrestle with as a tech leader is, people talk to you about innovation, right? But what is innovation? Well, innovation is not solving a problem that we have already solved, but with a different technology, right? That's definitely not this. Like, so innovation now becomes like, okay, we need to grow our set of solved problems, agree? And now tell me what problem you will solve and why it belongs to our set, right? And once you have answered these two questions, now I'm happy to talk with you about innovation. But I guess the very demanding thing with this approach of the set of solved problem is your signature as an engineering function for your business, is we need to be clear on what we call a problem, and we need to be clear on what we call a solution. So the problem has to be a fundamental, I guess the definition of a solved problem, you'll smile, but a solved problem is a problem you won't have to solve again once you encounter it again, right? That sounds basic, because you need to live and breathe these things for 10 years to fully understand how you read this. Isn't leadership a lot about trusting as well? Like, you're not a pure leadership position where you're not doing anymore, you're just leading. Yeah, at the end of the day, trust is, it's funny, because we live in a world where, I guess one of the word that's having belief isn't great, right? But I find it interesting, because it's everywhere. In the past year, a lot of us with our friends and families, we've spoken a lot about the COVID and what we understood about the COVID, and you think you have read the newspapers, or you have read this blog of this scientist, but at the end of the day, no one has actually done all the experiment, and no one knows exactly. At some point, you've just read something and you trust it, right? We trust all the time, right? And so that's true that the fact that we live in a world where belief is a very weird word, and you have belief. It means that actually in the space of a corporate organization, trust is not natural either. And plus we are inundating people with reports, and we want you to be data driven. We have this BI. So why would you trust, right? Well, actually, there is a lot involved here. And again, I think it's because we are creating several hierarchies in the company. It's not one anymore. So people are, yeah, how can, you have your, because hierarchies, when they're done well, are hierarchies of, of skills, of competencies and stuff like this, right? So the problem is the technical world is its own hierarchies of competencies. Like, again, you have taken the red pill, right? In the match, you're out of the matrix now, and that's a bit how I see it, right? So how do you make those two things work together? You're right, trust. But